said. He said what?
Royal family mired in one of its biggest crises in history.
Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles and when Prince William becomes monarch.
Prince William now winning this huge battle with his father King Charles for there to be an Act of Parliament introduced at Westminster to jettison not just Prince Andrew, Beatrice and Eugenie, but also Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie and Lily once and for all. You thought the Prince Andrew scandal was the end of the changes that are coming under King William V. Let me tell you, you are wrong.
You're not going to believe this. London woke up today buzzing with whispers so loud they might as well be shouted from the palace balcony. Senior royal insiders, the ones who usually speak only in polished lines, are apparently in serious talks about doing something almost unthinkable. They're considering stripping Prince Harry of his royal titles. Yes, stripping their own blood. No monarch in over 100 years has even dared to go this far. And yet, behind those centuries-old palace walls, something seismic is stirring. The conversations, I'm told, aren't rumors anymore. They're formal, structured, and deliberate. It's like the crown itself is sharpening a blade. This isn't just another headline. This could be a royal earthquake.
King Charles and Prince William still believe Meghan Markle is a bigger threat to the royal family than Prince Andrew.
And Harry? Oh, he's not sitting back and watching this play out on the news. The prince who once chose exile is already on a flight, racing toward London. Not for pomp or pageantry, not for a reunion over tea, but to fight. Insiders call it a personal intervention, which already sounds dramatic. He's coming to stop something big.
My sources say there is a growing feeling within Buckingham Palace that Prince William is winning the argument and that Charles may have to take a political stance on that matter.
You have to understand, these whispers didn't just appear out of nowhere. For months, Buckingham Palace has been wrapped in a strange kind of tension, like storm clouds that just refuse to move. Everyone knew something was brewing. Whispers of a royal crackdown. And the moment Prince William quietly stepped in to shoulder his father's duties during King Charles's brutal cancer battle, those whispers turned into action. Behind those high, carefully guarded gates, a quiet power shift is underway. One that could literally redefine what royalty even means. And caught in the center of this storm, a son who's desperate to hold on to the very titles that shape his identity. Titles from the institution that once embraced him and then branded him an outsider.
William knows that it is unpalatable for the British monarchy to keep this disastrous couple in the mix when it comes to Andrew and Fergie, but also to have Harry and Meghan constantly dragging down the brand. Both couples are an issue.
Yeah, I feel very strongly that Harry and Meghan should be cut out.
And the question on everyone's lips? Why now? Who's pulling the strings in this royal chess match? Is it the ailing king, the calculating heir, or the palace machine itself? That silent, unstoppable force that has survived scandal after scandal. If these reports are right, the monarchy isn't facing a headline, it's facing a war of blood versus crown. Harry's mad dash to London isn't just about titles. It might be his last shot at holding on to his place in history. London, 2025. The air outside Buckingham Palace isn't celebratory. It's heavy. Not the kind of heavy that comes from ceremony or grand announcements, but the weight of palace silence. With King Charles stepping back from royal duties to focus on his illness, Prince William has slowly but surely stepped up, measured, methodical, and utterly determined to shield the monarchy at all costs. And then there's Harry, the runaway prince. Once celebrated as the dashing soldier, now the family's loudest liability. The prince who swapped duty for deals. The palace has changed, but so has he.
This is so ridiculous, and what O'Brien said about him being a military hero is as ridiculous as when Harry got that award for being a hero of flight. I just about fell off my chair when I heard that, a hero of flight.
Every explosive Netflix special, every interview laced with carefully dropped accusations, every insinuation has chipped away at the royal image. And then there's Meghan, the woman who turned palace walls into backdrops for branding. Her rumored luxury cosmetics line, inspired by royal elegance itself, is raising royal eyebrows everywhere. In London's power corridors, this isn't seen as ambition. It's seen as exploitation, cashing in on the very thing they claim to have escaped. And according to palace insiders, William isn't seeing the Sussexes as family anymore. He sees them as a brand problem, a liability, a contaminant in the carefully polished royal image.
Prince William knows that it's not just Andrew and Sarah and Beatrice and Eugenie which need to be dealt with. It's Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lily too. And he wants his father to be tougher. I think that has to happen. I really, really do, Lee.
At this point, royal aides aren't asking if something will be done. They're asking when, because timing, darling, is everything. With the king growing weaker, William's grip tightens. His loyalty isn't to sentiment anymore. It's to the institution. Forgiveness at this stage looks like weakness. And if that's true, Harry's sudden return isn't about healing, it's about reckoning. Remember how it all started? A prince meets an American actress. The world swoons. A royal wedding that felt like a fairy tale reboot. Unity, diversity, rebellion in a crisp white dress. Cameras saw love. The palace saw opportunity. For one shining moment, it looked like the monarchy might actually modernize, but fairy tales have a way of fading fast once the lights dim. By 2020, the Sussexes walked away from their royal duties, their bold declaration of independence echoing across headlines worldwide. No courtiers, no hierarchy, just Harry and Meghan, free to tell their truth.
You know, it's such a joke, Dan. Here, Harry and Meghan are getting awards for being humanitarians. And humanitarians don't treat family like that. They don't betray their country like that.
But here's where it turned. That freedom, once painted as brave and defiant, became a franchise. A whole media empire built not on their future, but on the shadows of the palace they left behind. Podcasts dissecting privilege. Docuseries rewriting history. Every private slight became a public headline. Harry spoke of healing, but each interview reopened old wounds. Every revelation made the palace's silence look guilty and gave critics more ammunition. Across the Atlantic, the Sussex brand exploded. Back in London, William's patience cracked. This wasn't just family drama anymore. It was a full-blown PR war. The more Harry and Meghan talked, the more the monarchy bled. The world stopped asking why they left and started asking what they might destroy next. And the palace, oh the palace, realized this wasn't exile anymore. This was a threat.
I mean, this is nonsense. They hate it. They didn't like the royal family. They left 5-6 years ago now because they hated it all. Okay, go away. The Queen wished them well, but that's not good enough. What they want is to keep on nagging, to keep on making things difficult for anyone who's royal.
It started quietly, like everything in the royal world does. A few whispers in Parliament, a single line in a Sunday editorial, talk of new legislation, a law that would make it possible to legally revoke royal titles by vote. At first it sounded absurd, but whispers turned into drafts. Drafts turned into meetings, and suddenly the message was crystal clear. The monarchy was ready to clean house. Prince Andrew was the obvious target, but word is William's list didn't stop there. The second name on it? His own brother. For years, Harry shouted for distance from the monarchy, but now that distance threatens his brand, suddenly he's the prince again. Not in the quiet moments, of course. Only when the cameras are rolling. While William's been playing the long game of duty, Harry's been playing the short game of documentaries. Meghan, ever strategic, turns every spotlight into a sales pitch. Her royal-inspired business projects blur that delicate line between heritage and hustle. And the palace has noticed. Behind those perfectly polished palace doors, royal advisors started stacking up data, polls, charts, graphs, cold numbers. And the result? The Sussex approval rating had sunk below Prince Andrew's, a PR blow no one saw coming. That was the palace's red line. And yet, instead of softening, Harry doubled down, casting himself as the victim and the hero all at once. It's a contradiction so loud even the tabloids can't ignore it.
I actually would go as far to say that Harry is a traitor because he betrayed his country. He betrayed one of the leading institutions of his country, the monarchy. He disgraced the monarchy. He disgraced his family.
And now something's shifted. The palace isn't reacting anymore. It's strategizing. Deep beneath Buckingham Palace, where history breathes through polished marble, the monarchy has always run on one cold, unwavering principle: survival. Not love, not sentiment, just survival. William, standing at the helm while his father battles illness, has taken control. His vision? A monarchy that's lean, scandal-proof, and efficient. No more tabloid messes, no more emotional memoirs, no more personal dramas playing out like Netflix scripts. To protect the crown, the noise has to go. And Harry and Meghan? They've become the example. What was once seen as a young couple's rebellion is now the textbook case of what happens when royal privilege meets personal branding. This isn't revenge. This is brand protection.
That is absolutely disgusting. They don't deserve to have any attention from the royal family. And the more that they go on and on about it, the harder we must be.
Behind those heavy palace doors, aides have a name for it now. The Restoration. Sounds calm, right? But don't be fooled, it's a ruthless recalibration of power. Here, family names don't matter as much as the institution's survival. Meghan's luxury ventures and Harry's endless televised grievances aren't just personal scandals anymore. They're being tallied up like numbers on a balance sheet. Liabilities, not legacies. And here's the truly heartbreaking twist. Those royal titles Harry once tossed aside as if they were old clothes. They're now the only thing tethering him to the monarchy. Without them, he's not a prince in exile anymore. He's just another celebrity trying to keep the cameras on him. Meanwhile, the monarchy, stripped of all its sentimental frills, will endure. It always does. But Harry and Meghan, their future is starting to look icy cold. They're not just the rebels anymore, they're turning into the cautionary tale, the royal example that warns everyone else, step out of line and you'll be next. And across the Atlantic, the empire they tried to build, that glittering Hollywood-flavored power couple dream, is starting to lose its shine. The world that once fell at their feet is bored. The glow is fading. The same Hollywood that once couldn't get enough of their fairy tale rebellion now watches them with polite exhaustion. Their grand speeches, their big moments, they've turned into something the industry's seen too many times. Familiar, predictable, tiring. Their Netflix docu-series, oh, it smashed records. But so did the backlash. Viewers didn't just watch, they judged. Words like indulgent, whiny, luxury grievances started floating around like smoke that won't clear. Every polished tear, every raw confession began to look just a little too rehearsed. And once the public senses performance, the magic dies. Even those who once defended them started whispering the same question. How long can you monetize resentment?
William, let me be clear, does not believe his father, the cancer-stricken king, has gone far enough. He thinks Andrew should not even be a prince. He certainly should not be in the United Kingdom. Exile is the only answer. But the problem is that requires an act of parliament. That act of parliament, I am told, William also intends to use to finally jettison the Sussexes.
In Washington, where they once tried to pivot into power players, invitations have dried up. Advocacy groups that once amplified their voices are quietly stepping back. Not because their message changed, but because they became the very mirror of what they once criticized. Everything they accused the palace of, image control, privilege, calculated branding, has become their own calling card. And Meghan? Her big rebranding push, that glossy cosmetics line inspired by royal elegance? Oh, that's only making the contrast sharper. She's bottling the same system she claims to have rejected. To critics, it's not empowerment anymore. It's opportunism with expensive lighting. And Harry? Oh, Harry. The memoir that once made headlines for being brave now reads like a diary of entitlement. Each interview, each tell-all, each carefully crafted truth chips away at what little sympathy remains. The once adored soldier prince has started to look like a man fighting shadows. A man consumed not by what he stands for, but by what and who he's standing against. They thought they were escaping the shadow of the monarchy, but they built a smaller one, a harsher one, lit not by the quiet dignity of a crown, but by spotlights. The kind of spotlight that burns hot, fades fast, and leaves nothing but glare. The same public that once saw them as this dazzling modern bridge between royalty and reality has grown tired. They once embodied hope, the fairy tale couple who would drag a centuries-old institution into the future. But that promise cracked under the weight of their contradictions. Every speech about compassion was followed by a luxury sponsorship. Every plea for privacy was trailed by another camera crew. In Britain, the once fiery support has chilled to something worse than hate, indifference. Ask around and people say the same thing over and over. They wanted freedom. They got it. Now what? Even their most loyal supporters admit it now. You can only repackage the same grievances so many times before they stop sounding like truth and start sounding like a business model. Maybe this was always where it would end. Maybe the monarchy's most rebellious son was destined to learn the hard way that freedom without restraint is just another cage. And now, as the palace tightens its grip, as legislation looms, as the crown itself prepares to strike, Harry is on a flight home to to a palace that doesn't look at him the same anymore. This isn't a reunion, this is a collision between what was and what's left. The spotlight that once crowned him is now dissecting him. Every motive, every gesture, every word, and Meghan, the actress who once stole the world's attention, is stuck inside a role the world has stopped believing. Perhaps the cruelest twist. For all their talk of truth and authenticity, the only thing Harry and Meghan have made undeniably real is the fallout. Behind the glossy photos, behind the streaming deals, behind the well-lit confessions lies a single merciless truth. Reputation isn't a right, it's a rhythm. And once you lose the beat, the world stops listening. The palace may move to strip their titles, but honestly, the public has already taken something far more powerful, their credibility. Because power doesn't always end with a crown. Sometimes it ends with silence. And maybe that's the part that's truly unsettling. If the royal family can erase its own blood to preserve the throne, what else can they erase? What else have we not been told? And if you want to see just how deep this pattern really goes, watch our previous investigation about Meghan's mother's shocking confession regarding Archie and Lilibet.